Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and yes, the rumors are true. The reason I haven't uploaded on this channel in a week is not because I was on vacation in the city of Nashville. It was because I was, in fact, horrifically murdered. But I am happy to tell you that I have made a full recovery. We did the witchcraft thing, we did the rituals, and now I am back alive. So today, we're going to talk about this incident in the city of Chicago where a group of teens attacked a married couple and ended up killing the unborn child of the wife in this married couple. And the reason we're going to do this is because this follows some trends, some patterns, some things that we've talked about before, including not describing the overwhelming majority of the suspects that are still on the loose, and I can't stand that. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel through actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay.
So a hot evening tonight downtown and in Streeterville. Police are watching for trouble.
This comes after a stunning violent attack on a couple walking home after a dinner date. The attackers were believed to be teenagers.
So right off the top, this local news segment starts off by them saying that the police are watching out for trouble in and around this neighborhood after an absolutely stunning, an absolutely shocking attack on a married couple in this particular area. And this attack was perpetrated by our favorite group of criminals, and that of course is teens. The undescribed, unidentifiable, no greater feature that could help you understand who is behind this attack other than the fact that they were somewhere between the age of 13 and 19. Teens attack, teen terror, teen takeover, and all that, or as Brandon Johnson likes to call them, gatherings.
That's not appropriate. We're not talking about mob actions. I didn't say that. Hold on a second, okay? Respectfully. These large gatherings.
There was a gathering of urban youth in this particular area, and that ended up resulting in the attack of a married couple in their 40s, in which a pregnant woman was stomped out to the point where she lost her child. And no big deal, no reason to describe this situation, not like multiple suspects are on the loose, and not like we have between 10 and 50 people who remain uncaptured in this situation, not gonna see any surveillance video. We're just gonna hear about those gosh darn teens. Teenagers, teen problems, teen angst. That's really what's going on. It's like an episode of Degrassi. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, which depicts the struggles of Canadian teenagers in their weirdo performative arts school where everybody has a hobby connected to the school, like a play or something. That's what's going on in the city of Chicago. Degrassi, Next Generation, Netflix edition, on the streets.
The family, they tell me that they don't believe the motive here was robbery. In fact, they weren't robbed for anything. What they did tell me is as these kids were attacking them, they yelled out that they own the streets. The family, they don't want to be identified, but they do want people to be warned that these teen gatherings can turn violent really quickly.
So one of the things that I absolutely cannot stand whenever we're covering stories like this is the fact that the Democratic Party or Democratic Party officials will put out the official line, the official new label for a problem that has existed for a long time, because you know one of the best ways to never address a problem is just to rename it something innocuous. And right here we have somebody in the media repeating the nonsense from Brandon Johnson, who was outraged that people referred to these teen takeovers as mob-like activity.
Not appropriate. We're not talking about mob actions. I didn't say that. Hold on a second, okay? Respectfully. These large gatherings. Just hold on a second, y'all. I promise you, we have time to talk. It's important that we speak of these dynamics in an appropriate way. This is not to obfuscate what is actually taking place.
That these teen gatherings can turn violent really quickly.
And she just called them a teen gathering. The teens were just gathering. They were just gathering on this particular corner, and they said this was our corner. It's not weird at all, not unusual, because again, this is just typical teen behavior. Now, obviously, one of the things that I want to harp on is the fact that the victims in this particular case, even though they don't show their faces, appear to be white people. The perpetrators in this case, even though we have no description of them at all whatsoever, are likely, although not confirmed, we don't want to overstep our bounds or make conclusions based on little to no evidence, African American young males disproportionately. So, right now we have a bunch of people on the loose, and guess what? We're not going to get a description throughout the whole course of this video. There's not going to be any surveillance video, even though in the opening, they were right in front of this AMC, brightly lit up area. We have footage of these takeovers all the time. We have footage of these takeovers from the teens themselves all the time, but for some reason in this particular story, even though again they have 2 arrests out of potentially 50 attackers, we're still not going to get a description of any of those potentially 50 attackers. Now some reports say as high as 10, but again 50 is what is described in this local news segment.
Please, we're just trying to go home to our kid. Leave us alone. Why are you doing this to us?
This is where Nina and her husband were walking back from date night Friday after 8:30 in Streeterville.
Everything happened from behind us. First, someone approached him and hit his head.
Do you think there are surveillance cameras anywhere around here? Do you think that is accessible? Do you think that the police have that surveillance footage? Why is that footage not being released? Again, just ask yourself, major metropolitan area, city of Chicago, we've seen footage from these areas before. Do you think there's any footage to show to the public for this ongoing supposed manhunt?
Someone approached him and hit his head, punched him in the head, and he looked back and he looked at me and told me, run, so he wanted to protect me.
These are images of his injuries, bruising from head to toe.
One of the things that people on this channel get angry about is the fact that I often label this, accurately so, a version of the knockout game. And people get mad because they say, Sean, that's aggravated assault. Sean, that's felony assault. And by the way, just to be clear, they're charged with misdemeanor assault, the 2 people that were actually captured in this particular incident. So it's not even a felony assault according to the Cook County District Attorney. Can't wait for her to be out of office. And the fact of the matter is, the reason why I label this the knockout game is because these teens, these typically black youths, do this for fun, and they do this to any other group that isn't them, and yes, that often results in disproportionate attacks on white people that are, again, well above the age of these teens. In this case, you have a 40-year-old married couple just walking home from a date night on what is a brightly lit up street right by an AMC, surveilled everywhere, and all of a sudden, in this large group of absolute cowards, they decide that they're going to sucker punch the male in the group.
The attackers then unleashed their rage on Nina.
Another lady came to me and dragged me through my hair, with my hair on the ground. I start screaming. She start pepper spraying me right in the face, in the eyes. Another person starts stomping all over me.
Before females decide that they're going to attack this woman. No motivation, they didn't steal anything, although in many different variants of the knockout game, they will often KO somebody and then steal their shoes right off of them, pickpocket them. It's absolutely disgusting, terrible behavior, but in reality, in the city of Chicago, what they find disgusting is when you point it out, and when you compare these kids who are in a mob doing a mob-style attack to mob-style attackers, because, oh my god, they're not Al Capone.
Another person starts stomping all over me, and my husband ran towards me to save me. Over 10 people held him.
Nina's hair was pulled from her scalp. Nina captured this image of the hair in her hand.
So what is being described here is an absolutely savage attack. They end up going after the husband first. Then, of course, he tries to tell his wife to run. She ends up being confronted by young ladies, possibly, if we're being 100% accurate based on crime statistics, Koreans, because obviously Koreans are the ones mobbing up, taking over blocks, and stomping people out. And they yanked her hair so hard, they pulled it out of her head while they were stomping her while she was on the ground. Now, to be clear, even though she is reported to have been pregnant, and that is in fact true at this moment in time,
Nina was 2 weeks pregnant and says she found out after the attack that she lost the baby she was carrying.
She was 2 weeks pregnant at this moment, so in reality, she didn't know she was pregnant, and these attackers didn't know she was pregnant at the time that the attack occurred. That being said, would that have made a difference in reality? Probably not. These teens had decided that their teen energy, their gathering, was being disturbed by these potentially evil white racists, because they were evil, white, and racist going into this territory, and they decided that they were going to attack them based on that. And again, this appears to be done for fun, which is why I talk about the knockout game, because what is important about the knockout game is that the attackers see it as a game, they see it as entertainment, and that's what appears to be what happened right here, again, with these teens, these teenagers. Again, most important descriptor right here, 50 people on the loose, no surveillance video being shown, is the fact that they're teenagers. So if you happen to find a girl between 13 and 19, no description needed, turn them over to the police because I'm sure there's an ongoing investigation into these teenagers.
Police arrived at Grand and McClure. The crowd started running, many hopping this fence. 2 teens were arrested and charged, a 17-year-old girl and a 14-year-old boy. The teens aren't in police custody. Alderman Brian Hopkins says the teens shouldn't be able to get away with this.
We're asking the state's attorney to consider upgrading those charges to felony charges resulting in great bodily harm. Both victims suffered extensive injuries, and the medical examination is ongoing.
So like I said, they ended up charging misdemeanors in this particular case. Both of the suspects are on the loose. Again, if they were interested at all in capturing the other groups of these teenagers that were in and around this area that participated in this attack, you would think that they would charge them with higher charges, maybe try to hold them and, negotiate a deal in order to get them to testify against other people. But it turns out there's no interest in that. They don't want to engage in that. They're just charging misdemeanor assault despite the grave bodily injuries inflicted on these victims. And by the way, this pro-criminal attitude, this we always got to protect the offenders because they were just innocent Angel Aladdins trying to feed their starving family by attacking random 40-year-olds that happen to be likely of a different race than them on the streets and stomping them out to feed their starving family is the exact reason why the victim in this case is completely anonymous. The husband is not even present right here because they are afraid of retaliation, and they should be afraid of retaliation considering the overwhelming majority of suspects are on the loose. The police aren't even really looking for them. They're not showing us surveillance video of these particular attackers, so we could even have a chance of identifying them. They're not even really describing them, and on top of that, the people that they did arrest, the people that were too slow to get away, guess what? They're released already. They're back on the streets already. So these victims have to look over their shoulder for these potential attackers to occur again. And by the way, we probably, if we had any reporters that were interested in looking into the history of the 2 people that were arrested, have likely repeat criminal offenders right here. So yeah, this is what's going on in the city of Chicago. And by the way, by the numbers, these style of attacks are actually up, not down. So according to the Daily Mail, aggravated battery is actually up 20% in the year to date compared to the same period of time in 2021, while robberies are up 38% and thefts are up 77%. So right here we have actually an increase in crimes in this particular area, but there's another little bit of a factoid that you guys might find interesting, which is of course this happens to be the same exact area where Jussie Smollett staged his notorious fake hate crime assault. So in this particular area, the police are able to find surveillance of the Osendara brothers running to the cabs really quickly. Instantaneously, they're able to track that down for that fake crime, for that hoax. The response is immediate, and the news and the media and the prosecutor and all those people are coming out in force to talk about that particular incident. And I know Jussie Smollett had some degree of fame prior to that incident, but all of a sudden, when we have a situation where 50 suspects end up attacking 2 people on the street, an attack that actually happened, guess what? Nobody's to be found. Nothing to see here. Just look away. No additional suspects, misdemeanor assault, and shut your face. Look, the fact of the matter is, violent crime happens. Horrible crimes happen all the time in this country, all the time in major cities, all the time in rural areas as well. And to a certain degree, we don't have an impact, a way to control this type of behavior in our society. But on the other hand, we can't control our response. We can't control our view of this situation. We can't control our perception of who's the victim, who's deserving of scorn, and whether or not we invest the time, energy, and resources into finding the perpetrators. Right here, the city of Chicago, Cook County, has shown us that they don't give a damn about these people. They don't give a damn that this woman was pregnant. They don't give a damn that this man was beaten severely. They don't give a damn that she ended up having her hair yanked out of her head, because they baby charged these 2 suspects that they actually did catch, and there appears to be zero effort in order to find the other potentially 50 suspects that also engaged in this attack. On top of that, 50 plus teens are gathering on a corner, taking over a street, notorious for these street takeovers, and there was no police presence immediately there. They have conceded the city to these criminals, and this is the result. Good, law-abiding people end up being attacked, and an unborn child ended up being killed in this particular incident. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. Those are just my opinions. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Am I crazy? Or are these just Japanese youths on the street of Chicago? Or maybe, just maybe, does the identity of the perpetrator have a lot to do with the response? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a teen takeover, an attack from teens on a 41-year-old pregnant woman and her husband. Till next time.